before. So Ronnie, Neil won't be taking anything for granted this evening.
I think it would be unwise for him to take advantage of anything in a match like this. It's still only a best of 7 frame match. So, got to be on your toes, and Judd sort of struggled to get home, but in the end he did earlier on. It's been a bit of a mixed bag for Sullivan, hasn't it? I mean, I said earlier on, this first match he didn't look very comfortable out there with his elbow. He played superbly yesterday, and not quite to that level today, has to be said. But you end up winning against a very promising player. And I think, as I said earlier, a lot of the opposition from the lower reaches of the rankings, young or old, a little bit intimidated by Sullivan. I don't think Zhang fits that bill.
One.
Nice shot to start.
Nicely controlled, wasn't it? He's played very well to get this far, as mentioned. In fact, it's been pretty serene progress for Zhang. Only dropped a couple of frames. Beat Ben Mertens, the talented young Belgian, 4-0. Anthony McGill, 4 frames to 1. And then Elliot Slesser, who had knocked out Jack Lazowski by the same score. So he's here very much on merit. I mentioned to Alan earlier today that he's pleased with the way he's queuing. Currently ranked at 57. He's only ever been as high as 55. Turned pro originally back in 2009 and managed to qualify for the Crucible in his debut season, which puts him in a pretty exclusive club. He very nearly stunned Stephen Hendry in the first round at the Crucible. He was 2 up with 3 to play before Hendry turned it around. But very capable player, clearly.
He's played there at the Crucible 3 times, actually. And he yet to win one of those first round best of 19 frame matches. But yeah, it's a good effort to get there that many occasions. So you're right about his ranking.
70.
Kind of a bit in and out, so that's why he's never got higher than that. Tough game for him against O'Sullivan, of course. And he needs this very good start. Can get a little bit bogged down in matches. Really poor shot, actually, that last one.
24.
So much room on the right side to play down that way and get on the red to the left corner, or even over-screwing on something to the right corner. It's a bit of a nothing shot he's played.
Bidding to match his best ranking performance. He has been in 3 quarterfinals, most recently last year's Welsh Open, when he was actually 3 up with 4 to play against Hossein Vafai and lost in a decider.
25.
Nice recovery.
Packed house throughout the day once again here in Brentwood. The winner of this match will play the winner of the Ali Carter Zhou Yu Long match this evening. John Higgins already through with that terrific display of break building earlier. As mentioned, the top break so far, 1-4-5. He also knocked in a 1-3-2.
33.
And a couple of other sizable breaks, so Higgins is in good form. He plays either Martin O'Donnell or Aigua Zhang.
Yeah, I think the Higgins win was the performance of the week. It would be hard to find one better. All those breaks you mentioned. And the irony is, of course, in Shanghai it was O'Sullivan, British Open last week in Cheltenham, Williams. If it was to be Higgins this week, the class of 92, just go on and on, basically. He hasn't won yet, but he's playing as well as anybody, Higgins.
41.
Good start. He's on reds and blacks. I don't know if he'll be thinking any further into it than that. Very early stages, but he's going to play on this bottom red. It will be with the black again, so that he's moving well. But playing on Sullivan, I don't think he was worried about possibility of 147 breaks, especially this early in the piece.
.48. Zhang under 48.
Well, that never threatened the pocket. That wasn't even close enough for it to stay over the hole, which was what usually would happen if you missed those.
Sullivan was virtually perfect against Jackson Page. He made the 3 centuries, but it wasn't just that. He barely missed a ball in live play, and his long potting was excellent. Today was quite a come down from that level, but what he was able to do was pot the key balls at the key moments. And that's why he was able to beat C4-2, who, on the balance of play, you could have said was at least as good as O'Sullivan, but didn't quite have the same ability to be clinical when it mattered as often.
I don't know if there's 2 reds to the left middle that are close to a plant. He looked adjacent, and I know that Zhang hadn't really given them a second thought. If they're on, it's a bad misjudgment by him.
1.
I mean, that's just really poor, isn't it, to play a containing safety shot and not have the first clue there was a plant dead set. So that is a very poor thing to do. It's something your coach would tell you off for, I think. Anyone can miss a ball. No one can be criticised for that, but
8.
Poor observation of what there is. And the shot you're leaving is your own fault.
Right now, Sullivan,
Didn't cost him
8.
on this occasion.
Nothing better than the last 32 for Zhang last season. He made that round at the Scottish Open and the German Masters. He did win a couple of rounds in World Championship qualifying, including a victory over Zhao Guodong, before losing very narrowly to Noppon Sankam in a decider. But he has qualified for the upcoming Wuhan Open and the International Championships, the return of ranking event snooker to China this season, of course. O'Sullivan has already won the invitational Shanghai Masters for a 5th time and a 4th in a row, beating Luca Brissell in the final a couple of weeks ago. But O'Sullivan didn't get past the quarterfinals of a ranking event last season. His most recent success was his record-equaling 7th world title. Going for number 40 this week and a 2nd English Open after he won this title in 2017.
This is quite a while for Sullivan to be deliberating over a shot. Playing a containing shot in the end.
It's good cueing from O'Sullivan. Still plenty of reds there for him to get right back into this frame. He pinched a couple from some way behind this afternoon, and that made the difference, really. Made a clearance in the second frame, which Zhang Wei looked set to win. And then did so again on his way to his 4-2 victory.
That was a better shot than it looked, you know, very cleanly potted to the middle. So he's given himself a chance to get back into this frame. That 48 points advantage that Zhang has from that 6 red, 6 blacks.
13.
Fairly slender looking now, isn't it? It doesn't mean a great deal in the grand scheme of this frame where the balls are. Oh, that's okay.
20. $21.
Said earlier on, I think it's great when an audience comes in to watch these great players live. It's a very different experience to watching on TV. As we love, it's a TV sport in so many ways, you know,
28.
and it's terrific on TV. Snooker, it's what basically made snooker, colour TV, but just the chance to see someone like O'Sullivan close up, it's you can see all of it.
29.
The way that he operates, the cue action, the stance, just the way he is around the table. Now it's a treat for these people of Essex and no doubt beyond where they've come from to watch him. And all the other players, of course, but I think safe to say O'Sullivan is the
36.
focal point this evening.
37.
As he has been for a good few years. Anyway, this frame is probably will revolve around that top left-hand red. And the question of how he tackles this, because the red actually
43.
is maybe a little further away from the cushion than Ronnie would like, because he can cannon it more
44.
comfortably if it's closer to the cushion. Plenty of room to go round it where it is. So what is the plan here? Could screw the cue ball to the left cushion and play on it in the middle. That's got to be with precision. It's played to the cushion. He's got a shot down the
48.
the bottom pocket, and this would probably win in the frame if this goes in.
49.
Very well done, I think, this the way he approached all that, made it all look simple.
Shades of John Higgins about Ronnie O'Sullivan today. The way in which he's
53.
overturned deficits in frames in important moments.
55.
Doing it again here. Zhang had the chance, missed the red along the top rail into the left corner. Sullivan has taken these very well. The initial red wasn't easy into the
58.
right centre pocket. He was close to the side cushion, but in a couple of shots he was in prime position.
62.
This frame is won. Doesn't appear to be much wrong with his game, does there? He's not played a lot of snooker this season, of course.
67.
He missed the first 3 ranking events. But he looked sharp.
73.
His top break earlier today was 78 to finish his match with Zhang.
8 in the frame. Ronnie Sullivan.
The Brentwood Centre as we reach the sharp end of the first Home Nations event of the new snooker season. Quarter-final places at stake tonight. And Ronnie O'Sullivan has made an important blow in the opening frame with an 80 clearance after Zhang Anda got in with 48. Mr. Red along the rail. And O'Sullivan crafting a fine response to take the opener. This is their 4th meeting. O'Sullivan's won the previous 3. Luca Brissell has taken the opening frame against Ding Junhui. Brissell, who does have the opportunity to replace O'Sullivan as the world #1 this weekend. He's got to win tonight for starters. But obviously, the longer O'Sullivan stays in, the harder that'll be for Brissell.
I think it's going to be tough for Luca Brissell to get to #1 for any period of time. Not because he's not good enough and he's got all those World Championship points, but he will lose at the UK the points he got for the final 2 years ago. So unless he comes out and wins that or repeats the dose, gets to the final, you know, there's a lot of points coming off, but not so many that he's in any problem. Of course, he's got a world title. It's just that for the #1 status, it changes, ever-changing, really, isn't it, with the 2-year rolling system. If he doesn't get to #1 soon, he might not be able to do it in the near future. Great ambition for so many players. Only a select band that have ever been world #1.
Well, that is a very good pot. Not easy.
I think the camera angle we had showed you exactly the line of it. It was dead straight and, like you say, a queuing shot.
Six.
Martin O'Donnell who scored that impressive win over Mark Selby at the start of this week and followed it up with victory over former UK champ Stephen Maguire, is currently 3-2 up on the former world under-18 champion Zhang, who qualified for the tour this year via the Asia Oceania Q School.
Yeah, it's not happening in a hurry, that match, is it? They've literally just played 5 frames. Just started the 6th frame, and it's been 2 hours 45 minutes when they got on the table.
Winner of that to play John Higgins, who is already through. 4-1. Tremendous performance from the Wizard. A couple of centuries, including 145. That'll take some beating.
Yeah, I think you're talking maximum, aren't you? I know 146s are quite rare. We had some at the World Championships, a couple, but I think someone's going to have to play the perfect frame to deprive John of the high break prize. Meanwhile, for a man who's 1-0 down, he's actually hitting the ball well, Zhang Anda.
$21. $28. $29. $34. $35. $42.
Whether it's briefly or for longer than that, Zhang Anda has silenced this crowd with this break, as he did in the first, although he never won the frame from it, 48. I think occasionally he starts to get a bit ponderous. He started that last frame really well, then he started looking at a lot of shots, end up missing that red by a long way. That's sort of a bit ponderous as to whether to play it. When he plays a little quicker with more rhythm, he seems to be a better player. He starts looking at all the things that can go wrong, and invariably when you do that, they will. However, this is a good break again. Just Ben Williams needs a little bit of time here because there's no available spot. He's got to go below its spot in a line down the centre.
He's a resilient character, Zhang. He first turned pro when he won the Asian Under-21 title in 2009, but he's been off the tour 3 times and got himself back on again. Most recently, 2 years ago.
50.
And after the disappointment of losing the first frame from that healthy lead that he'd built before missing the red into this left corner, this has been a really good response. The initial red was certainly missable into the centre pocket. He's cubed well so far, but of course he's conscious of the dangers of a repeat performance from frame one. He's got to get the job done this time.
Once again, he's not sure what to play, whether he goes into the reds or not. But, he didn't have any choice, really, and it's a beautiful shot. I think he looked at the scores as if, can he possibly win the frame without these reds being opened? And he played a delightful shot, and there was not one person in the crowd clapped him. So I think we know where their emotions lie, and it's not with Zhang. Nothing personal, it's just they're massive O'Sullivan fans. That was a lovely shot he'd played.
$65. $66.
Yeah, a little smattering there. Been a lovely break, like I say, and he's won in the frame this time, whereas in the first frame he got so far and then Sullivan came back strongly, but this has been excellent.
If he can make a century here, he'll match his tally for the entire last season, which is indicative of how well he's been playing of late. Would be his 9th of the campaign already. Most importantly, though, he's won the frame, and he's done it in style. Exactly what he needed. As mentioned, the last time they played,
80.
he did take O'Sullivan the distance, won back-to-back frames from 4-2 down before O'Sullivan beat him in the last at the European Masters, so he knows he can compete with O'Sullivan.
Well, that red will only go with a lot of side, I think. Even then, it may not be able to.
Going under 80 and the frame.
So, a nice break there. Enough to win the frame comfortably.
A second English Open title to add to the one he won 6 years ago now. The winner to play the Ali Carter or Zhou Yulong, who might be going onto the table pretty late this evening. They're on table 4. And the match preceding them, as Neil mentioned, is proving to be a long one. It was a good safety from O'Sullivan, and it's created the error. Does anything go? Judging by the shake of the head from O'Sullivan, maybe not. Certainly nothing easy. Looks like the pink's in the way of the obvious red. But he's found a way to continue the break. There was a bit of distance between those reds, so he had to hit it bang on, which he did. Zhang may have thought that he got away with that one, but no dice.
Back. Six. Eight. Nine. Well,
it's always going to be a bit of a puzzle with the black completely locked out of the frame, as it appears to be. Well, it is. It doesn't appear to be.
15.
Not that he can't get it going here, Sullivan. He could possibly develop it, but he's probably happy to just chip away at what's there. He'd be taking a risk trying to get high-value colours into play when you've got 3 or 4 more reds and high-value colours in the locker.
21.
No, that wasn't planned. Tried to screw that past that. Got some work on that.
26.
But it's increasingly difficult with the limitations of sort of certain colours being out of the game. The pink's not really in play either, is it, as you can see? So he is hamstrung by all of that.
27.
I think that's probably end of break. Therein lies the problem. The greatest break bill of all time can't operate with certain balls out of play.
Ronnie Sullivan, 27.
Rather ugly looking table at the moment with both pink and black awkward.
One.
Oh, that's an absolute screamer, isn't it? Of a long pot, terrific. When he first turned professional, I mean, I first saw Ronnie play age 12, and he was a very good player back then as a junior. But when he first turned professional, age 16, he was a brilliant player, actually. He won all those qualifiers, played for about 3 months up in the Norbrett Castle in Blackpool. But
6.
his long game was incredible, actually. That was his asset then. The amount of times he would pop blues from the spot into the baulk pockets to recover a break. All the rest of it didn't come immediately, the cue ball control. Every time he knocks in one of those, it just takes me back to when he first
11.
appeared. 16-year-old beating almost everybody in qualifiers.
Ronnie Sullivan,
An awkward
11.
shot there, playing with the opposite hand.
Yes, his long game against Jackson Page in particular was outstanding. But even for O'Sullivan, this table is a challenging one given the position of the high value colours at the moment. Equally for Zhang at the moment, it's a long way back into this frame, given that he's already 38 adrift and very difficult to launch an effective counter-attack, given the way things stand. A very tight third frame ongoing on table 2 between Ding Junhui and Luca Brisella. Must win, you would think, for Ding, given he's 2-0 behind to a couple of 52 breaks from the world champion. There's one red left in that frame, but Ding is at the table, so he's got the chance to halve the deficit. The winner of that will play either Lu Hongyu, who edged out Chris Wakelin, the shootout champion earlier, or Mark Williams, who's still going strong after his British Open triumph last week.
Yes, Mark Williams seemed to think that early on in interview said that he felt he hasn't got much left in the tank. He said he was running on adrenaline in the start of the week and fumes at the moment.
What?
I think one of those situations is we see an excellent long pot from O'Sullivan. If Williams could just get through tonight and a good night's sleep, then maybe he'd be okay again tomorrow, but maybe just feeling the exertions of the last week and a half.
Seven.
Very un-O'Sullivan-like frame this. He's having to do it in bits and pieces, but it's going very well with that in mind at the moment.
7.
Just caught that red too thick, which is why it stayed on the lip of the pocket.
Well, that could be a moment, couldn't it? Because now Zhang, who is playing well, is in with something to go at. Ronnie O'Sullivan was over 100, was at 100%.
1.
Up until about 5 minutes ago on pot success. He's missed 2 since then. that he wouldn't normally.
Ding Junhui has managed to win that all-important third frame, so Luca Brisell's lead shaved to 2-1 on table 2. Very tight sixth frame underway between Ricky Walden and Matt Selt, with Walden leading 3-2 as well. Selt is currently 16 behind in that frame, with just the one red left. All of the matches available on Discovery Plus. The quarterfinals tomorrow, of course, starting at the earlier time of 12 o'clock UK time, because they're the best of 9 frames, so there'll be 3 matches on table 1, 1 in the evening on table 2 as well.
This pink on the black spot suits him for now. Clearly, if this comeback is going to be complete and he's going to get the frame one, there's a lot of work to be done with the 2 reds to the right of the black, which seem not to be a plant to that pocket. You could move something here.
50.
Well, he certainly could have shifted the red, but I suppose he's thinking that there's no colour available. They're not dead in line for a plant. Seeing it from there, though, they might be makeable into a plant. First thing you look at is the gap between the reds, about a couple of 2 or 3 centimetres. Maybe you could just turn it into a set to that right corner.
Earlier on in this frame, Sullivan pushed that green into a safe spot, and that could come into play.
$22. $28. Zhang 28.
Go on, Ronnie.
Yeah, it was an interesting one, wasn't it? Because as you saw, they weren't set as a plant, but he felt that he could turn it into one, and he probably could have done with hitting a lot less of the first red on that right side from his angle. Then it could have been gettable. He was a bit fortunate not to leave the red. This frame is still up for grabs.
Talked to Alan McManus earlier in the week about possibly replacing his tip in the very near future, O'Sullivan. been working pretty well for him so far this week. He hasn't always played at his best, but he's looked sharp. He's certainly looked very focused. Very obviously dialed in this week.
One.
And that was another bit of sweet cueing as he edges his way towards the winning line. It's been a bit of a battle, this frame, given the position of the balls. $18 the lead, 25 with the black, so you'd need the red and another colour to go 2-1 up.
Eight.
And the red will not be easy.
Ronnie Sullivan, 8.
Yes, it wasn't a straightforward shot. You feel that while he hasn't won this frame yet with the chances he's had, O'Sullivan, is there going to be a twist in the tail? But like you also pointed out, the green put safe a lot earlier could still be the saviour for him if there is anything that Zhang comes back with.
Can O'Sullivan chip this red in? If he can, almost certainly he'll be on frame ball colour. Not to be.
Knuckle might have just forced the snooker, or maybe just a thin edge of the red sticking out. Ben Williams has had a look down the line, so he's doing all the measurements for possibly replacing a ball if there is a miss called. Yeah, he can't get anywhere near to it directly, as you see. Blue's completely in the way. Around 2 cushions. I mean, while you see players good at this shot, you can never be sure you're not going to hit the red incorrectly and leave something on. It's a little bit in the balance, these shots. Well, I'll tell you what, he doesn't want that one back. He hit it well, so he deserves something, but snooker was not something he could have played. Looked like a slash, but I think what happened there was the middle pocket was in the way of the natural angle, so he screwed it to widen the angle. Now the blue's gone safe, so that's again in O'Sullivan's favour.
Going the distance in the match between Ricky Walden and Matt Selt, who's managed to win frame 6 to force the decider. Winner that to play Judd Trump after his 4-2 win. First up this evening against Wang Zijun.
Seems like he can't look, doesn't want to see what's happening. Maybe he's finding it all a little bit weary. So he's been second match of the day, same for just about everybody, but there you are. Doesn't make it any easier. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for players still to go on tonight. Mark Williams' match and Ali Carter's match are the two that are waiting for matches to finish. And they're not finishing any time yet. The Walden-Selt match. And of course, the match, which is very intriguing actually on the other table, is he, Gi Ching and Martin O'Donnell. That's still seemingly got a bit of mileage left in it. Donald might be in position to win it 4-2, but what are we now? 20 past 10. A lot of players waiting in the wings.
Yeah, we could be burning the midnight oil before the quarter-final lineup is complete. Looks as though O'Sullivan can get through to this green. It's felt as though he's been a very heavy favourite throughout this frame. He's been in front throughout. He's had to get the points on the board in dribs and drabs because of the awkwardness of the balls. But Zhang clearly still has a chance. The blue is safe. 16 the difference, so as things stand, O'Sullivan needs green and brown, but that's a good shot acknowledged by O'Sullivan from Zhang to snooker in full ball behind the brown.
Yeah, he's playing some really good shots, Zhang, and like that previous, which is certainly just making O'Sullivan a bit frustrated, I think. He's doing nothing wrong. He's playing good match play.
That's very well cued. Gun barrel straight. Couldn't do a lot with the cue ball. But he's hanging on in there in this frame, Zhang. He's got a good temperament. And that's another cracker.
Well, he's 9 in it now, so Sullivan just wants one pot from here. And needs them all, but he's played a pretty tough old frame.
Zhang Anderson.
Nine the lead. Oh, it's beautifully struck. And as Neil says, it's all he needed. So he's had to work extremely hard in this 25-minute frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan, but another excellent long pot, which really has been the theme of the week from him.
O'Sullivan 5.
Why wouldn't he just go for that pink there? I mean, I just don't really understand it. Unless he thought that somewhere he would, don't know, knock the black in or something. Just mystifying how he can not just roll the pink in or over a pocket there. For me, anyway. It's very hard to get a snooker on the pink and black anyway, especially when you knock it safe, as he's done there.
A lot harder now.
Obviously just ensuring no in-offs. I mean, that is the first thing you learn when you play this game. Your opponent needs snookers, stop the cue ball from going anywhere near a pocket. Doesn't mean it never happens.
Six in the frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And bidding for a fourth ranking quarter-final appearance. Ronnie O'Sullivan, a 138th. 2-1 up, halfway there. Had to really grind it out in the previous frame because the balls
keep your
from the
voices down,
get-go were
please.
very awkward. Martin O'Donnell, meanwhile, has come through a really tough battle this evening. The man they call the Minister of Defence. He's having a great week, isn't he? He's beaten Mark Selby. Stephen Maguire. And now he's taken out the talented newbie to the professional tour, Zhang, by 4 frames to 2. So he will play John Higgins in the last 8 tomorrow. And that frees up table 4 for Carter and Zhou Yulong.
1. Can you stand still, please? Stand still.
I'm happy, Sullivan, with some movement.
Ball.
It's more the stewarding, perhaps, he's not happy with. People are always going to wander in and out of the snooker venue if they're allowed to do so.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Concentration is not there. These days, he does let it get to him a little bit, all of that, some movement. It's never any good when it happens. But like I said earlier, it's a lot of people want to see him play, and, you know, they want people have to go out for refreshment or for a bathroom break and come back. They don't want to miss a frame of it. It can be a little off-putting. Tough balance, because we're celebrating what tremendous crowds we've got this week to watch all of the snooker here in Brentwood.
Clearly still irked by the background movement by Sullivan, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his level of play, albeit he did miss that red just now. He's not amused.
Like I say, is he annoyed with the spectators, or is it that he feels that someone should be stopping them or sort of managing the coming in and out? You know, that's my point. I don't know which one it is. I think the spectators were just desperate to see the game. Don't know. But it's rattled him now, I think.
It's coming across.
Like a sponsored walk, says O'Sullivan. Well, at least he can smile about it. Certainly Ben Williams is.
Well, I'll tell you, he does sometimes sound a bit like Ray Reardon. He's great mentor, one of the great men of snooker, who equally would not have stood for things like this that put him off. I mean, Ray was a great man of snooker, but he used to fight his corner against, if he thought a referee had made a mistake or something in the crowd had upset him, he wasn't afraid to make his feelings known.
And there's still a match to be won here. Zhang Anda has played well enough to suggest that he can still be a threat in this match. He's 2-1 behind, but this is a chance to get back in. One good red here and he could be in business. The table looks good.
1.
And that is a good red. So, a very presentable opportunity for the underdog here to build a lead at least in this 4th frame and stay in touch.
Six. Seven. 14. $15.
That's a pretty crucial red that he's got rid of, which, as you can plainly see, has opened up everything. He's played well tonight, hasn't he, Zhang? He's 2-1 down, but not dissimilar to the match with Si Jiahui that Ronnie won. See, he did most of the playing early and
22.
didn't win all the frames despite it.
23.
Played especially well in beating Anthony McGill. Made breaks of 127, 73 and 91 to clinch a 4-1 victory.
I mean, it's a good result, wasn't it, to beat McGill? There's no doubt about that. And as you say, did it comprehensively.
$31. $38. $39.
Nudge again.
46. $47. $54. $55. Thank you. 61. $62. $67. $68.
It's going to be two each by the looks of things. 64 the difference, only 59 left, and Zhang again looking very composed. mentioned those breaks he made in beating Anthony McGill. He did something very similar to Elliot Slesser, who'd previously knocked out Lazowski, made 3 frame-winning breaks in a 4-1 win over Slesser, who's twice beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan. So he is playing some terrific stuff right now. He seems to be enjoying the challenge of playing the 7-times champion. Perhaps encouraged by how close he ran him when they last played last year at the European Masters. Sullivan, well, he's shown some frustration about movement in the crowd. He must be a little concerned about how well his opponent's playing.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It is a combination of the two things, really. He's frustrated when he's at the table because his movement, well, he says that anyway.
83.
I'm sure he's right, but he's not dealing with it very well, to be honest. And Zhang Anda is unfazed by anything. He's playing beautifully. So it goes into the mix, and this game is going to be a tough one for Sullivan to win.
'89.
He made 80 in the second frame to level the match. And he now go on to complete his 9th century of this season already. He made 9 in the whole of last.
90. '97.
Caught near jaw with the red. He deserved a century, but once again 97 will little concerned at how well his opponent's playing right now. Breaks of 80 and 97 from Zhang Anda to twice level this match, make it a best of 3 frame from here for a place in the last 8 in a meeting with either Ali Carter or Zhou Yilong, who are only just taking to the table. So that's going to be a potential late night finish, stroke early morning on table 4. Matt Selters just won against Ricky Walden in a decider, having been 3-2 behind. He'll play Judd Trump in the quarterfinals. Trump having won our first match here on table 1 tonight, 4-2 against Juan Sejuno. Had a great chance to force a final frame in that one, Mr. Brown. And Trump cleared up to pinch it on the black.
He had an easy containing safety shot there, but Ronnie was having none of that. Sullivan's pot success was 100%, getting about halfway through frame 2, but he's dipped quite a lot since then. 87, as you saw.
Zhang's, on the other hand, outstanding at 94.
Just that last shot Ronnie played there, he didn't have to go for that red. Don't know if he's just decided to swing at a few, but here I think he has to play a safety shot. He wants to attack Zhang, but just sense at the moment that the body language is not great for Sullivan. I'm sure he can regroup, but if Zhang gets in again, it'll just add to the frustration.
He's 3 out of 3 with his long-range pots so far.
One.
Never in doubt. He's growing in confidence. At the moment, he's looking the stronger player. Beautifully cued again, right in the centre of the pocket. There's 2 round of 32 appearances last season for Zhang. Just missed out on the Crucible for a 4th appearance there. But overall it was a disappointing season.
7.
Started this one a lot more encouraging. Still only 32.
I've got to play a screw shot here to get himself out to a colour. Virtually straight. Not too many shots.
13.
Seem to be out of bounds for him, though. He's playing really nicely. This is an awkward one. I'm not sure if this is his sort of shot, though, to drop in blue like this, in this position, to hold for a red. He likes to play little stun and screw shots. I don't know what he's landed
18.
on there. There may be a red that goes through the gap. It must be tied. Yeah, that red doesn't quite go. There is a gap, but it doesn't lead directly to the pocket.
Hang under 18.
Sullivan looking to get back on track here, having just lost his way a little, perhaps lost some of his composure through frustrations. Some indecision about this shot, and that was the result. He missed it by a margin, and he's fluked one. Goodness me. Wow, how important is that going to be?
Well, it's an outrageous fluke. Frustration is there. I think the other thing I was thinking, he's had very little table time, actually, in the last 20 minutes or so. It's been all Zhang. A lot of sitting down. Now, he's had an outrageous fluke, but now he, I suppose, has just got to take it. Trying to speed the match up.
Even that secondary kiss worked out quite nicely, didn't it?
Oh, I'll tell you what, yeah, I think he'll be having a go at something here. Something seems to have changed in his mind.
Foul. Ronnie Sullivan 7, 5. Zhang.
Well, he's fluked the blue, but he's also knocked the white in. So that was a very eventful visit, albeit a brief one from O'Sullivan.
Yeah, but it doesn't bode well, does it? He's not happy. He's not a happy man at the moment. I mean, this match is 2-2, so he's got some breathing space, but he has to gather his thoughts if he's here to win, which I'm sure he is. Somewhere along the lines, he's lost his cool a little bit out there.
But Zhang has now made a couple of errors, and he would certainly, the way he's been queuing, have expected him to pot that one. He's overcut it. It's a let-off for O'Sullivan. The composure he's been showing so far this week in Brentwood has certainly deserted him for the time being. Look at the table now. An absolute feast to be had.
2.
A 2 at once. You only get to pot one colour though after it.
Seven.
Cliff Thorburn always used to say, if someone needs to put 2 reds against him, he'd say, I guess you're in a hurry. Is that how he viewed it?
Cliff really was, as I recall. Well, what an opportunity this is. He's already had a couple, Zhang. Sullivan has, for the time being at least, completely lost his way and his concentration, it seems. But it's vital for Zhang to take advantage of that.
13.
Well, the balls are spread out all over the place, aren't they? I mean, they really are. So there's no obvious reason why he shouldn't. He's missed his ball this frame, which Sullivan couldn't capitalise on.
14.
It'd be a big thing for him to win, of course, in Essex against O'Sullivan. So that in itself is a big thing. He 0 from 3 against the Rocket in the past. So that is a sort of a barrier he's got to overcome as well.
And the 2 of those
19.
meetings that were in the home nations, one of which was here on O'Sullivan's way to the title 6 years ago, was 4-1. The other was 4-0, Northern Ireland Open the year before. But right now, seems as though the red mist has descended for O'Sullivan. He's clearly frustrated and he's allowed that to affect his game. .35 the lead.
$20. $25. 26.
This blue, another red, and another colour of highish value should be enough for Zhang to go 1 up with 2 to play.
31. 32.
Of course, the other thing to say about Zhang is that he's probably, well, I'm sure he sensed the fact that his opponent is a little rattled for whatever reason, and it's not his problem, is it? He's just got to do his thing, and that's what he's doing. He's remaining in his own little bubble here, and he has played really well tonight. I mean, 3-2 is not a win because he's never beaten O'Sullivan, so he's still got to deliver the killer blow in this match. But to get to 3-2 up, which he's now about to do, he's potted frame ball. It's a good effort, I think. Can't fault almost all of his play tonight.
It's always been a strength, his temperament. He's not a player to wear his heart on his sleeve on the table. He's very composed even when things aren't going to plan. O'Sullivan, remember, had that outrageous fluke early in this frame,
38.
which could have been a real turning point, but quickly went wrong. Is he going to be able to regroup? That's the question.
$43. 44. $39. 50.
Well, they were certainly all there for Zhang, but you still got to pot them, and once again he's shown admirable composure. Managed to block out the noise. distractions. The fact that his opponent is clearly rattled at the moment.
Foul.
He's ignored all that.
Zhang under 50. 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan frames Zhang under.
The yellow's gone in, but it's academic. Zhang under thoroughly is whether Ronnie O'Sullivan can regather the composure that has got him to the round of 16. Certainly seemed to have lost it for a frame and a half there, not least in the previous frame, when he started going for a few pots that were optimistic, had an outrageous fluke but couldn't benefit from it, was previously irked by movement around the arena, which of course is inevitable because there are 4 tables in use and spectators are going in and out. But all of that has clearly rattled O'Sullivan. The question is whether he can now put that behind him and just focus on trying to win these last 2 frames, because Zhang Anda is playing extremely well. He might not get the chance the way Anda's potting.
Beautiful shot. He did get a hold of the cue ball maybe a fraction too much, so the angle on the black is not great. It's actually worth seeing whether he can pot the black, in fact, because the red and the black are close together. I'm sure Ben Williams will be onto this one. Red conceivably just in front, is it? There's Ben hovering. Just about black first, but not a lot in that.
8.
Of course, simultaneous hit between red and black there would be a foul.
We're going to the wire in the match between Ding Junhui and Luca Brissell on table 2. 3 apiece. Winner of that to play either Liu Hongyu or the man of the moment, Mark Williams.
Zhang under 8.
Now the 2nd oldest ranking event winner, having just claimed the British Open at the age of 48. He turns 49 in March. O'Sullivan will be 48 in December. And Zhang will be 33 on Christmas Day.
There's an interesting shot. I think Zhang An is thinking, I just need to keep the safety shots basic at the moment to ensure that, you know, we're just going to see which way Ronnie goes with this. Yeah. He went for a few indiscriminate shots towards the end of the last frame, and that's another one. Zhang is probably thinking, if I wait long enough, I'm going to get a good chance. So he played that really well, Zhang. Played a bit of a nothing shot and let Ronnie just take too big a risk. Now he's sitting down again watching him.
One. Foul. Zhang under 1. 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, now, he didn't quite catch the pack fully, although he might argue he's a bit unlucky to have gone in off. Not happening. It isn't happening. He missed that one by quite a way. He put a bit more into it as well, and of course he is, every time he misses, he's leaving Zhang back in again. Well, this match has been turned on its head completely from the scoreline of 2-1 to O'Sullivan.
A rueful smile
1.
They're underway on table 4 now in the second match of the night. They've had to wait a long time. Ali Carter against Zhou Yulong, who's taken the first frame. Zhou with a break of 79. Winner of that plays the winner of this tomorrow in the last 8.
Ball. 5.
It's out of Sullivan's hands and completely in the grip of Zhang, who's just got to convert this good chance to a match-winning one against an opponent he's never beaten.
Twelve. 13.
Chatting to Alan earlier today after his win over Elliot Slesser. He seemed very relaxed, very happy with the way he's cueing. Understandably, Zhang, he's been scoring heavily all week. He's been putting the hard work in on the practice table. He spent the week with Si Jiahui. He's been sharing accommodation, eating with Z, practicing with him as well. And at the moment, he's looking likely to go
20.
a little better than his good friend and practice partner was able to do earlier. What a chance this is turning into. He's already 24 in front. The red spreading nicely, the black available.
1. 26. 27.
'This is a test of nerve as much as anything now for Zhang. This will be a big deal for him. Last season was a disappointment.
34.
Never been inside the world's top 50. He's been around for a long time now. 3 times he's fallen off the tour. Each time he's had the tenacity to get back on.
35.
He's already scored a couple of notable wins this week. Anthony McGill, Elliot Slesser. But to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan the way O'Sullivan's been playing would be a very, very significant win. To set up just a 4th career quarter-final appearance. He's still got to make it happen though. 39 in front.
$40.
Yes, and
41.
again, the reds are scattered. It's almost been every frame. He's managed to get the balls into the kind of positions which makes it just about potting balls and getting on the next one. There's no disturbing of the bunch.
48.
Playing with a lot of freedom. And if he was to win, he would thoroughly deserve the win. No one could argue with that.
49.
Well, there's just one possible, just a shaft of light for O'Sullivan, perhaps, if this shot to pot the black and hold for the red went wrong. I don't think it will, but it's just not absolutely straightforward to play this little shot. Played it pretty well. And now, well,
56.
it's just one more pot. One more ball, and it'll be a first. First time he's ever beaten the great man.
57.
And it will be completely deserved as well. Good effort, this.
The lion's share of this crowd inevitably came to watch what they hoped would be a Ronnie O'Sullivan win, but the local favourite has been well beaten 64. In the end. O'Sullivan just seemed to lose his rag midway through this match, but take nothing away from Zhang. What a cool and composed performance this has been all the way through. Wasn't phased when he twice fell behind. He scored heavily once again. He's taken out frames at one visit. He's looked thoroughly unruffled. And he is delivering some of the best snooker of his career. Ronnie O'Sullivan has just bitten his Q-tip off.
73.
He had made noises about replacing it in the near future anyway. But tonight is Zhang night. What a performance.
80.
That's O'Sullivan rearranging his equipment.
81.
And the prize for Zhang, a meeting with either Ali Carter or Zhou Yulong, who are only recently underway, as mentioned. Zhou having taken the first frame, long way to go in that one on table 4. Even though it's now nearly 10 past 11 local time, but I imagine that Zhang will describe, as we see O'Sullivan's now
89.
former tip, he would rate this as his best ever performance, given the opponent, given the fact that he's on television and is matching his best ranking performance. Hard to imagine that he's played better than this, Neil.
No, he's played beautifully, and it's very well deserved. This, just to say one thing, Ronnie O'Sullivan is due to play in Wuhan at 12:30 UK time on Monday against Ken Doherty. So travel arrangements will have to be made. It's all on Discovery Plus next week.
And that was the only thing that was missing from Zhang's performance. He's come close to a century a couple of times now. He's made one. His 9th of the season.
105.
And he'll believe, given how well he's playing, and having just taken out the 7 times world champion, that he can go further. He plays like this, he certainly can.
110.
He's even got the exhibition shots in his locker, and the crowd appreciating the skill that Zhang is showing here. This has been some display. Ronnie O'Sullivan
16, frame and match.
had no answer. A big upset on the 4th evening here in Brentwood. The 7 times world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan is out at the hands of Zhang, who's played quite brilliantly. The world number 57 has scored heavily and kept his nerve when it mattered to deliver a fantastic performance and victory 4-2.